Alright, let's talk about something that's been quietly, insidiously, and frankly, annoyingly happening right under our noses. Those biscuits you love? Yes, the ones that used to perfectly fill the packet. They seem a bit smaller, don't they? And that bag of crisps? It feels suspiciously lighter, more air than actual potato goodness. It's a very real, very deliberate phenomenon, and it's affecting your weekly shop in ways that are designed to be just subtle enough to miss, until suddenly you realize you're paying the same price for, well, less. It's the slow, creeping reduction in product size or quantity, while the price stubbornly stays the same, or sometimes even dares to inch upwards. Think of it as a magic trick, but instead of a rabbit disappearing, it's a few grams of your favorite chocolate bar or a couple of tea bags from the box. Companies are hoping you're too busy, too distracted, or perhaps just too trusting to notice that you're getting a progressively worse deal. The sheer audacity of it is something to behold, isn't it? They're banking on your brand loyalty, on your habit of just grabbing the usual items without a forensic examination of net weights and serving sizes. It's time we all started paying a lot more attention to what's actually in the bag, or box, or suspiciously concave-bottomed jar. Now, I'm not just pointing fingers from an ivory tower of perfectly portioned snacks. My personal Shrinkflation Waterloo involved a bag of salt and vinegar crisps. Not just any crisps, mind you, but my go-to Friday night on the sofa. I deserve this crisps. For years that bag was a comforting weight in my hand, a promise of tangy, crunchy delight. Then one fateful evening I grabbed a new bag. It felt different, eerily light. Opening it was a moment of pure, unadulterated deflation, both literally and emotionally. The bag seemed to be at least 40% glorious, life-affirming air, and the crisps huddled at the bottom looked like they'd been on a rather aggressive diet. The price, however? Oh, the price was exactly the same, sitting there on the receipt, mocking my past enjoyment and my current crisp-related sorrow. It felt like a personal affront, a betrayal by a trusted snack companion. How could they do this to me, their loyal salt and vinegar-loving customer? The emotional impact, and I know this sounds dramatic for a bag of crisps, but hear me out, was surprisingly potent. It wasn't just about the missing crisps. It was the feeling of being duped, of being taken for a fool. It's the sneaky nature of it that grates. If they'd raised the price by 10 pence, I might have grumbled, but I would have understood. Businesses have costs. But to quietly give me less product for the same money? That felt underhanded, like someone shortchanging you while smiling sweetly. It erodes trust, doesn't it? Okay, so we've established that things are shrinking. Now let's untangle two terms that often get thrown around when we talk about rising costs: inflation and its sneaky cousin, shrinkflation. They both end up costing you more, but they rob you in distinctly different ways. Think of them as two different types of pickpockets. One is bold and brazen, the other is a master of subtle sleight of hand. Both are after your hard-earned cash, but their methods vary, and understanding the difference is key to protecting your wallet. Inflation, the more straightforward of the two, is when the price of goods and services goes up. Your loaf of bread that cost £1 last year now costs £1.20. The same product, same size, just a higher price tag. It's noticeable, it's annoying. You see the price change on the shelf, you feel it at the checkout. Shrinkflation, on the other hand, is the art of charging you the same price for less product. That £1 loaf of bread? It still costs £1, but now it has 2 fewer slices, or it's mysteriously a bit shorter. Or your favorite chocolate bar is still the same price, but it's shed a few grams. This is the stealthy pickpocket. The one who, while distracting you with a charming smile or perhaps some fancy new packaging, subtly lightens your bag. You pay the same, but you get less. It's a reduction in value, disguised to look like price stability. Both hurt your purchasing power. Inflation makes your money buy less because prices are higher. Shrinkflation makes your money buy less because the products themselves are smaller or contain less. Section 4. The Art of Deception. Why shrinkflation is so damn sneaky. So why is shrinkflation such a slippery customer, often sliding by unnoticed until you're halfway through your now smaller box of cereal, wondering where it all went? Well, it's because companies have become absolute masters of disguise, employing a whole range of clever and, let's be honest, slightly devious tactics. They know that consumers are generally more sensitive to price increases than they are to subtle changes in product weight or volume. One of the most common tricks is maintaining the same packaging size while reducing the contents. The box looks the same, the bag feels vaguely familiar, but inside, there's more air, a bigger indent at the bottom of the jar, or fewer items. They might use phrases like new improved shape, which often translates to new smaller content. It's all about managing perceptions. We're visual creatures, and if the box looks the same size as it always has, our brains tend to assume the contents are also the same. It's a psychological loophole they're more than happy to exploit. Ultimately, shrinkflation is sneaky because it preys on our busy lives and our tendency to shop on autopilot. Section 5. Don your detective hats. Outsmarting the corporate shrink ray. Alright, so we're being stealthily shortchanged. It's infuriating. But we're not helpless. There are ways to fight back. To become savvy shoppers who can spot shrinkflation from a mile off, or at least from the end of the aisle. Think of yourself as a consumer detective, on the hunt for value. Your number one weapon in this fight is the unit price. Most supermarkets now display this on the shelf label. It's the price per 100 grams, per kilo, per liter, or per item. This little number cuts through all the packaging trickery and tells you exactly how much you're paying for the actual stuff. A big box might look like a bargain, but if its unit price is higher than a smaller, less flashy package, you're being played. Always compare unit prices, especially between different sizes of the same product or between competing brands. Next, become a brand agnostic, or at least, brand flexible. Loyalty is lovely, but if your favorite brand is shrinking its products while a competitor is maintaining size or offering better value, it might be time to make a switch. Try store brands too. They're often cheaper and can be surprisingly good quality. It's about shifting from a passive consumer to an active, informed buyer. Section 6. A victory for vigilance, Brenda's brilliant biscuit battle. Let me tell you about Brenda. Brenda, a retired librarian from Scunthorpe, loves her digestive biscuits. She has 2 with her morning tea every single day. For years she bought the same brand, a 400-gram pack that lasted her a predictable amount of time. But one day, Brenda noticed her biscuit supply was dwindling faster than usual. At first, she jokingly blamed the grandkids, but they hadn't visited. Then, a suspicion began to form as sharp and clear as the edge of a perfectly baked digestive. Armed with her reading glasses and a healthy dose of skepticism, Brenda marched to the supermarket. She picked up her usual biscuits and instead of just tossing them in the trolley, she examined the packet. Lo and behold, the familiar design was there, the price was the same, but the net weight, a sneaky 360 grams. 40 grams of biscuit bliss. Vanished into thin air. That's a whole 2 days worth of her morning ritual, gone. Brenda was not amused. She felt, in her own words, utterly bamboozled, and a bit miffed. But Brenda didn't just grumble, she remembered reading an article, perhaps even this one, in a future, time-traveling scenario, about unit pricing. She scanned the shelf. Next to her usual brand was a slightly less fancy store-brand packet. It was also priced similarly, but when she checked the weight it was a full 400 grams. And the unit price? Significantly lower. Brenda made the switch. The store-brand biscuits, she discovered, were perfectly dunkable. She now enjoys her 2-biscuit quota with the smug satisfaction of a shopper who has outsmarted the system. Section 7. The Shrinkflation Uprising, your mission, should you choose to accept it. So what's the grand takeaway from all this talk of shrinking crisps and vanishing biscuits? It's that we need a mindset shift. We need to evolve from passive purchasers into vigilant, strategic consumers. This isn't just about saving a few pennies on a chocolate bar. It's about protecting our overall financial well-being and sending a clear message to companies that we're paying attention. We work hard for our money, and we deserve to get fair value in return, not a magic show where our groceries slowly disappear before our very eyes. Adopting this vigilant mindset means making small changes that have a big impact over time. It means taking those extra 30 seconds in the aisle to check the unit price. It means being open to trying new brands if your old faithful starts playing fast and loose with its portion sizes. It means questioning new and improved packaging with a healthy dose of cynicism. Think of it as a financial fitness regime. A little regular effort keeps your budget in much better shape and prevents those sneaky little subtractions from adding up to a major deficit.